My in-laws fell off a cliff during a mountain hike. But my wife Stella, who runs the search and rescue team for that area, refused to go save them. Instead, she was up on the mountain setting off fireworks with her coworker Noah to celebrate her birthday. By the time someone found my in-laws, they were already dead. Their bodies were completely mangled. That's when Stella finally called me, like it was no big deal. Hey, have your parents' bodies sent over to my team. Noah needs to do 2 more autopsies to get his forensic license. She thought it was my parents who died. I just laughed. Then, I had those unrecognizable bodies delivered to her team. The bodies had just arrived when my wife Stella showed up with Noah. Ugh, this is disgusting. I'm gonna have nightmares. Noah screamed, hiding behind Stella. Stella kicked one of the bodies and glared at me. Why haven't you dealt with these yet? Can't you see your parents are freaking Noah out? Apologize to him. Now, I stared at her, confused. Apologize? For what? Before Stella's parents, Philip and Maria, died, they called me begging me to get Stella to send a rescue team. She had plenty of time, but what was she doing instead? Setting off fireworks with Noah on the mountain. She completely missed the rescue window. I thought Noah had talked her into it. Turns out, she just thought it was my parents who were dead. Noah smirked, enjoying the whole thing. Wade, Stella's parents were always telling you to be more humble. You can't even apologize for your own parents? Guess you never listened to them. Stella frowned. I was gonna get coffins for your parents, but now I see they probably deserved it. They raised such a rude son. Karma, I guess. I shot her a cold look. Get the coffins or don't. I don't care. But don't talk about my parents like that. Stella looked annoyed and told her team, these people aren't worth our time. Just grab a stretcher and take the bodies back. Noah grinned. Why waste a stretcher? We just brought a garbage truck. Let's throw them in there. Wade, you won't be mad, right? We're just saving resources. Watching Philip and Maria being loaded onto a garbage truck, I couldn't help but laugh. Mad? Nah, that's actually perfect. After Stella and I got married, Philip and Maria completely changed. They stopped being nice in-laws and basically dropped the act. They made me quit my job to be Stella's house husband. Every few days, they'd show up unannounced to check on me. They'd order tons of food. Everything had to be organic and fresh. One time, they saw Stella mopping and went off on me. Stella leads a search and rescue team. She works so hard. Why are you making her do this? I was basically their personal chef. Now Stella had them hauled away in a garbage truck. I guess karma really does come around. Noah handed me a flyer with a mocking look. Since I heard your parents died, I got you a little gift. Keep it. No need to thank me. The flyer was for a pet funeral service, cremation, urn, cemetery plot, the whole thing. For a dog. When I didn't take it, Stella snapped at me. Cemetery plots are hard to find these days. You better thank Noah. He's even doing the autopsy for you. I laughed so hard, I almost cried. Thanks. Once the autopsy's done, I'll make sure to bury them there. As I watched Philip and Maria get driven away in that garbage truck, I couldn't wait to see Stella's face when she found out who really died. I called Mom and Dad to make sure they were okay, then contacted a lawyer about divorce papers. That's when the cops showed up. We think the couple who fell off the cliff yesterday were murdered. Can you tell us what you know? Turns out Philip and Maria didn't slip by accident. Someone switched their hiking map. Philip and Maria only fell because they ended up in a restricted area. They always used the hiking map Noah gave them. No one else touched it. So Noah was the only one who could have killed them. When I heard this, I actually laughed. The guy Stella had been protecting this whole time was the one who murdered her parents. The search and rescue team was supposed to prep the bodies for viewing, so family had to be there. When I showed up, the bodies were just dumped outside, totally ignored. Not only were they not cleaned up, but their nice clothes had been swapped for ratty old rags. I didn't like Philip and Maria, but they were dead. They didn't deserve this. I followed the sound of laughter and found Stella and her team throwing a birthday party for Noah's dog. Philip and Maria's clothes were being used to wipe up the dog's pee. When Stella saw me, she didn't even look embarrassed. The bodies are ready. Just sign, and you can go. Oh, we ran out of paper towels, so we used your parents' clothes to clean up after the dog. Listening to them sing happy birthday to a dog, I couldn't help but smirk. If Stella didn't care, why should I? They were her parents anyway. I handed her the divorce papers. Do whatever you want, but sign this first. Stella grabbed them and immediately freaked out. You're divorcing me over this? Seriously? So, what if I didn't send a rescue team in time? Your parents fell off a cliff. They were already dead. Going out there would have just been a waste of resources. I stayed calm. I'm serious. Just sign it. Looking at her now, making excuses for her screw-up, I felt like I didn't even know her. This was the same woman who once saved a family of 5 single-handedly and got a government award for it. But ever since Noah joined the team, she'd been slacking off constantly. When Noah twisted his ankle, she'd cancel missions to take him to the hospital. When he cut his hand, she'd ditch her work to buy him medicine. Just because Noah wanted a birthday party, she ignored a rescue mission to set off fireworks with him. She'd completely forgotten why she joined search and rescue in the first place. Stella frowned and softened her voice. I didn't expect this with your parents. I had other stuff to deal with. That's why I turned down the mission. I know you're upset, but can we not make a big deal out of this? I smiled bitterly. No explanations needed. Just sign. Noah put on this fake peacemaker act. Wade, this is all my fault. I told Stella I'd never celebrated my birthday before, so I begged her to set off fireworks with me. I'll get on my knees if I have to. Just don't divorce her. He started crying, acting like he was about to collapse. He looked pathetic, but his eyes were full of challenge. Stella held him up and said coldly, I don't want a man this unreasonable anyway. You want a divorce? Fine, let's divorce. She signed the papers without hesitation and threw them at me. Without me, you wouldn't even be able to see your parents' bodies. Don't you dare regret this, Wade. While I was packing, Noah sent me a taunting text. Stella's, she says, guys, is boring as you make her skin crawl. She can't stand you touching her. Thanks to your parents, we got to try something new. They were watching me and Stella go at it. It was so hot. There was a photo attached of him and Stella hooking up in the morgue. I felt sick. Soon after, the police called asking me to bring the bodies to the station. I wasn't planning to see Stella again, but the cops needed me there, so I had to go back to the search and rescue team. Noah had already torn Philip and Maria's bodies apart beyond recognition. Body parts were just carelessly folded up like they weren't even human. When he saw me, he grinned. Wade, thanks for your parents' contribution. With this practice, I'm going to be an awesome coroner. Stella eagerly handed him a knife. It was ridiculous. He wanted to get a rise out of me, but I stayed calm. Stella handed the bodies over to you. Do whatever you want, but when the cops show up, don't try to deny you're the one who destroyed these bodies. Stella frowned, looking pissed. Noah's a coroner in turn. He's doing autopsies to get certified. Stop threatening him with the police. Your parents should be honored to be autopsied by him. Honored? Anyone with half a brain could tell Noah was just using the autopsy as an excuse to mess with the bodies. But Stella was determined to defend him. And since they were her parents, I had nothing left to say. I don't care about your excuses. Just finish the autopsy. I need to take the bodies. Noah suddenly got an idea. He said with this nasty tone, you can't take the bodies. This is an important evaluation period for the team. What do you think would happen if people found out we failed to save them? Stella, I've got an idea. Let's just cremate them. Save some resources. Stella clung to him and immediately agreed. Great idea. Wade, you should thank Noah. He's saving you money. Noah winked at me. No need to thank me. Just show up tonight at the team meeting and give me a congratulatory banner. I crossed my arms and laughed. Stella, when I called for help that day, I only said Mom and Dad. I never said if they were your parents or mine. Are you so sure these bodies are my parents and not yours? Stella sneered. Only your parents would be dumb enough to go into a restricted area. My parents would never do something like that. Move. I need to help Noah with this. Without another word, she threw the bodies into the cremation furnace. Right then, a watch fell from Philip's body. I immediately recognized it as the one Dad had picked out as my wedding gift. I'd been looking for it for 2 weeks. Turns out Philip had taken it. It was a custom watch Dad had ordered for me. He'd said, "Wade, a watch is what you need to start a family, right? This watch is to remind you that I've got your back, no matter what." I'd worn it every day since my wedding. It meant everything to me. Noah grabbed the watch first and said on purpose, "This watch looks familiar. I think I saw Mr. Covington wearing it before. Did Wade's dad steal it?" Stella glanced at it, her face twisted with disgust. "Wade Yeager, your dad stole from mine? Unbelievable. No wonder he kept coming over. He must have been stealing stuff." I could barely control my anger. "My dad custom ordered this watch for me. How is it suddenly your dad's? Give it back." But Noah threw the watch into the furnace. "Well, it's gone now. I'm doing you a favor, Wade. Wearing stuff from dead people brings bad luck." I punched him in the face. "Noah Reed, don't think I don't know what you did. The police are coming. You won't get away with this." Stella saw the blood trickling from his mouth. She was furious. She stepped in front of Noah and slapped me. "Apologize to Noah. He started it," I yelled. Stella gave this cold laugh. "Fine. You asked for this." She walked to the furnace, grabbed the ashes carelessly, and shoved them into a box. Then she went to the bathroom, opened the toilet, and dumped the ashes in. "You gonna apologize now?" she asked. I froze. She was already pressing the flush. The ashes slowly swirled down the drain. Right then, the police walked in. "Mr. Noah Reed, we have evidence." The officers stepped forward, faces grim. "Mr. Noah Reed, we have evidence you deliberately altered the hiking route given to Philip and Maria Covington. You're under arrest for negligent homicide and destruction of evidence." Noah's smug expression cracked instantly. What? That's insane." An officer held up his phone. "Your messages were recovered. You told a friend you were finally getting rid of those controlling old freaks, and that once they were gone, Stella would belong completely to you." Stella's face turned white. "Noah?" He grabbed her arm desperately. "Baby, listen to me. I only changed the map a little. I didn't think they'd actually die." The entire room went silent. Even the officers looked disgusted. I watched Stella's expression slowly collapse as reality finally hit her. The man she defended over her own parents had murdered them, and she had spent the last few days helping him mutilate their corpses, mocking them, burning them, flushing their ashes down a toilet. Her lips trembled violently. No, that's not true." The older officer looked at her coldly. "Miss Covington, there's also the matter of you refusing an active rescue request while on duty, mishandling human remains, and interfering with an investigation." Stella stumbled backward. "I didn't know. I thought." "You thought it was his parents," I interrupted quietly. She looked at me like she'd been stabbed. I took a slow step closer. "That's the funniest part, Stella. You were perfectly okay treating dead bodies like garbage, as long as you believed they belonged to my family." Tears finally spilled down her face. "Wade, But I was done listening. The officers cuffed Noah first. He immediately panicked. Stella, help me. Tell them it wasn't intentional." The second the handcuffs clicked around his wrists, all the arrogance vanished. He looked pathetic now, sobbing and snotting all over himself. Stella suddenly screamed and lunged at him. "You killed my parents." She clawed at his face so violently 2 officers had to drag her back. Noah shouted back in terror. "You said you hated them too. You said they were ruining our lives." Her entire body froze. Because he wasn't lying. The room became deathly quiet again. One of the rescue team members looked at Stella in horror. Another turned away completely, unable to even look at her anymore. Everyone had heard it. Everyone now knew exactly what kind of person she was. The officer sighed heavily. "Take them both in." As they dragged Noah away, he suddenly pointed at me hysterically. "This is your fault. If you'd just told her whose bodies they were." I laughed. Actually laughed. "You never gave Philip and Maria that chance either, remember?" His face twisted with hatred. "Good." Stella, meanwhile, looked completely broken. The arrogance, the pride, the cold superiority she'd carried for months had disappeared entirely. "Wade," she whispered weakly. "Please don't leave me alone." I looked at her calmly. You already chose who mattered to you. Her knees gave out. As the police escorted her past the furnace, she suddenly saw the little streaks of gray ash still clinging around the drain near the toilet. That was all that remained of her parents. Maria, who used to call her every morning. Philip, who never missed a birthday.
Gone.
And she was the one who flushed them away. Stella let out a scream so horrifying it echoed through the entire building. But nobody pitied her. Not anymore. A week later, the investigation exploded online. The heroic rescue captain, who ignored a distress call to throw fireworks for her affair partner, became national news overnight. The morgue photo Noah sent me leaked too. Their careers were destroyed instantly. Stella lost her government award. Her rescue license was revoked. Multiple families came forward claiming she had neglected previous missions involving Noah. Meanwhile, Noah was charged with homicide, evidence tampering, and abuse of corpses. His forensic certification was permanently banned. As for Stella, she tried contacting me constantly after her release on bail. Hundreds of messages, endless voicemails,
Crying. Begging.
saying she finally understood everything. I blocked every single one. Months later, I heard she visited her parents' empty graves every day, even though there were no ashes buried beneath
them.
She'd sit there for hours crying until security forced her to leave. Apparently, she kept repeating the same sentence over and over. I flushed my mom and dad away. I didn't feel sorry for her. Some mistakes don't ruin your life because they were accidents. They ruin your life because they reveal exactly who you are. Noah never even made it to trial with that cocky attitude intact. The second the other inmates found out he'd mutilated corpses and caused an elderly couple's deaths just to sleep with their daughter, he became a target. Prisoners spat on him when he walked past. Guards looked at him with open disgust. Someone smashed his jaw with a food tray during his second week inside. After that, things only got worse. The inmates started calling him Dog Boy after the story about Philip and Maria's clothes being used to clean up dog piss came out online. They'd bark whenever he entered a room. Sometimes they'd dump toilet water onto his bunk while laughing. Thought you liked dead people. One night, a group cornered him in the showers. When Noah crawled out afterward, half his teeth were gone, and his left eye was swollen shut.
He stopped talking after that.
Stopped acting smug. Stopped smiling. By the time sentencing came, he looked 20 years older.
Trembling. Hollow.
Barely human. The judge showed absolutely no mercy. 28 years. The courtroom applauded. And the moment Noah realized Stella wasn't even there to support him, he completely broke down screaming her name while officers dragged him away. But Stella's ending was worse. Much worse. Because Noah at least got to blame someone else. Stella had to live with herself. The public hated her instantly. Families of missing hikers flooded the internet with stories about her negligence. Reporters dug up old cases where she'd ignored calls, cut corners, abandoned missions early whenever Noah wanted attention. Every act of heroism she'd ever been praised for got buried beneath mountains of disgust. People began calling her the toilet daughter. Someone spray-painted it across her apartment door. She lost everything within weeks.
Her job.
Her pension. Her reputation. Every friend she had. Even Philip and Maria's relatives publicly disowned her. One of her aunts went on television and said, "Philip and Maria died once on that mountain. Stella killed them a second time afterward." After that interview aired, Stella disappeared from public view. But I still heard things. Like how she started drinking herself unconscious every night. How she'd wander into grocery stores barefoot and confused. How she got caught digging through plumbing pipes behind the crematorium because she believed some of her parents' ashes might still be there. That part almost made me laugh. Almost. Then came the final blow. Philip had secretly changed his will months before he died. Every single asset, every property, every account Stella expected to inherit had been left to charity. With one condition attached. Not 1 cent is to go to our daughter Stella Covington. The lawyer apparently read that line aloud while Stella sat there sobbing uncontrollably. She inherited nothing. Not even their house. The only thing left for her was a cardboard box of childhood photos the relatives didn't want. A month later, someone spotted her sitting outside the cemetery in the rain, clutching that box to her chest. She looked filthy, skeletal, completely destroyed. And the worst part? Philip and Maria didn't even have graves there. There was nothing beneath those headstones. No ashes. No bodies. Nothing. Because Stella herself had burned them and flushed what remained down a toilet. She had nowhere left to visit them except an empty patch of dirt. Last I heard, she started talking to herself constantly, repeating the same thing over and over like a broken machine. They were calling me for help. They were calling me for help. They were calling me for help. Eventually, the neighbors reported the smell coming from her apartment. The police found her lying on the bathroom floor beside an overflowing bathtub. In her hands was Philip's melted watch, the one Noah had thrown into the furnace. Turns out she'd somehow dug it out from the cremation debris weeks later and carried it everywhere afterward. The metal had fused into a twisted, ruined lump, just like her life.